I interviewed somebody and halfway through I looked down and it wasn't recording.
Please sit down. Those that are in the front, please sit down. Or everyone in general can sit down. Please sit down.
Excuse me, I want to go sit. Thanks.
Show respect for her, man.
Federal pen.
Hey, you guys, can you hear me okay in the back? All right, repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
I have important news.
I have important news.
I'm going to ask everyone to sit down first.
I'm going to ask everyone to sit down first.
And I'm going to ask you to hold your neighbor's hands.
I'm going to ask you to hold your neighbor's hands.
I have some news that's good.
I have some news that's good.
And I have some news that's bad.
And I have some news that's bad.
What I'm asking of you tonight is that you listen to me while I talk and not start yelling.
It's that you listen to me while I talk and not start yelling.
Okay. This is Mike. This is a new skill.
This is a new skill.
Okay. Here's the good news.
Here's the good news.
Last night we negotiated with the guards at the jail.
With the guards at the jail.
We said that we would disperse if they let attorneys have access to our people. We dispersed. And they kept their promise. lawyers.
and lawyers.
We have a set of demands,
We have a set of demands,
but we haven't had a chance
but we haven't had a chance
to talk to the guys on the other side yet.
to talk to the guys on the other side yet.
So what I'm asking you to do
So what I'm asking you to do
is to decide how we're going to make that happen.
is to decide how we're going to make that happen.
Now, if everybody runs around
Everybody runs around,
and we get tear gas tonight,
and we get tear gas tonight,
the negotiation will not happen,
the negotiation will not happen,
and our people will sit in jail.
and our people will sit in jail.
So we need a plan
So we need a plan
of how we're going to make this negotiation happen.
of how we're going to make this negotiation happen.
I'm going to ask you tonight
I'm going to ask you tonight
to sit here
to sit here
and meet,
and meet,
to use facilitators
to use facilitators
and good process
and good process
to come up with a plan
to come up with a plan
of what we can do all together
of what we can do all together
if the negotiations do not happen.
if the negotiations do not happen.
The other thing I have to do tonight
The other thing I have to do tonight
is tell you some bad news,
is tell you some bad news,
and I want your promise
and I want your promise
that you will stay sitting down
that you will stay sitting
and
down
hold your neighbor's hands
and hold your neighbor's hands
and stay that way while I tell you
and stay that way while I tell you
and stay that way afterwards,
and stay that way afterwards,
even though you may feel upset.
even though you may feel upset.
Can you do that for me?
Can you do that?
Okay, here's the news.
Okay, here's the news.
Some of the other lawyers and activists on the legal team
Some of the other lawyers and activists on the legal team
and I went inside the jail today,
and I went inside the jail today,
and we talked to some of the folks who've been in there,
and we talked to some of the folks who've been in there,
and some people have been beaten,
and some people have been beat,
and some people were pepper sprayed at Sand Point.
and some people were pepper sprayed at Sandpoint.
We can't let them stay in there.
We can't let them stay in there.
We need to get our people out.
We need to get our people out.
We need the negotiations to happen tonight.
We need the negotiations to happen tonight.
Do you folks want to start meeting now?
You folks want to start meeting now.
Let's decide how we're going to make the negotiations happen.
Let's decide how we're going to make negotiations happen.
We need facilitators,
We need facilitators,
and we need to meet in small groups right here, right now.
and we need to meet in small groups right here, right now.
I'll tell you our demands for starters.
I'll tell you our demands for starters.
We need the mayor.
We need the mayor.
His name is Paul Schell.
His name is Paul Schell.
And the guy in charge of the jail,
And the guy in charge of the jail,
his name is Ron Sims.
his name is Ron Sims.
And we need the prosecutor.
And we need the prosecutor.
His name is Mark Sidran.
His name is Mark Sidran.
Hold on. We need him to work with us tonight.
We need him to work with us tonight.
We need those three guys
We need those three guys
to talk to the legal team
to talk to the legal team
tonight to get our people out of jail.
tonight to get our people out of jail.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Thank you!
Peace and justice for all!
Ditto!
Is anybody thirsty?
Yeah! Is that good?
Does anybody
Does anybody
volunteer
volunteer
to leave the jail to get the people some water? If you are
If you are
interested, walk over there to that empty spot.
walk over there to that spot.
You might need a car though.
You might need a car though.
Hey you guys!
Hey guys!
More news!
More news!
There are riot police
There are riot police
with tear gas
with tear gas
nearby,
nearby,
but I'm asking you
but I'm asking you
to say sitting down.
to stay sitting down.
I want us to meet
I want us to meet
right here,
right here,
calmly.
calmly.
I don't believe that they will use tear gas on us
That they will use tear gas on us
if we're just sitting here
if we're just sitting here
having a meeting.
having a meeting.
And I can see that people
And I can see that people
are getting into groups to meet.
are getting into groups to meet.
Let's keep on using our process
Let's keep on using our process
and our facilitators
and our facilitators
to make a negotiation
to make a negotiation
happen tonight
happen tonight
that will get our people out of jail.
that will get our people out of jail.
You guys are really great.
Hunger strike.
Let's have a circle.
Can you tell us if the legal rights of our people have been violated?
Yes.
Please tell us.
Repeat the question.
It's like have they gotten to their lawyers and so forth? Because that's important to get out to the media. We only heard rumors so far. We don't know anything. Tell us. We haven't heard that.
The question was,
The question was,
have the legal rights of people inside
have the legal rights of people inside
been violated?
been violated?
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
The thing we have to do
The thing we have to
is negotiate with those three guys I talked about,
is negotiate with those three guys I talked about,
and we need to stay here
and we need to stay here
while that happens.
while that happens.
We don't need to take any action
We don't need to take any action
as long as we're able to negotiate in good faith.
as long as we're able to negotiate in good faith.
What kind of negotiating power do we have?
Right now,
Right now,
the jail is full.
the jail is full.
It was full before our friends came here,
It was full before our friends came here,
and now it's bursting.
and now it's bursting.
The regular prisoners
The regular prisoners
are not getting phone calls.
are not getting phone calls.
They're not getting enough. They're not getting their usual rights.
They're not getting their usual rights,
What little they had of them.
what little they had of them.
Our folks are packed in.
Our folks are packed in.
They're not getting what they need to eat,
They're not getting what they need to eat,
and some of them have been hurt.
and some of them have been hurt.
Let them go! So what are our negotiating powers?
There's the people inside,
People inside,
our friends, have power because they're in court.
have power because they're in court.
We outside
We outside
have power because we're here.
have power because we're here.
Each of us can use that power
Each of us can use that power
to bring about
to bring about
a negotiated agreement.
the negotiated agreement.
Let's concentrate
Let's concentrate
on creative solutions.
on creative solutions.
We need to meet in small groups
We need to meet in small groups
to talk about direct action,
to talk about direct action,
nonviolent direct action,
nonviolent direct action
that we can use
that we can use
if people do not negotiate with us.
if people do not negotiate with us.
We're doing direct action
We're doing direct action
right now
right now
because we're sitting here
because we're sitting here
not violently,
non-violently,
and we're not afraid,
and we're not afraid,
and we can stay here all night,
and we can stay here all night,
and we can stay
in negotiation.
Got a
Do you have
question.
plans to meet with the men tonight?
Did they move all the people from San Quentin? Are they all here now? They're all here now.
All right, what we're gonna do right now, my name is Rice, by the way, my name is Rice. Hello. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna show everybody who's watching the magic and power that lies within our hearts, okay? Right now, what I want you to do is envision in your mind's eye Ron Sims, Mayor Shell, and Mark Sidrick. And when I yell love, you yell it back to me, okay? Love! 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 Love!
I like that one. Let's do it again. I think it's kind of an obvious choice.
Repeat after me.
Hello.
Hello.
You don't have to repeat this part. My name is Skip.
My name is Skip.
I have a good amount of facilitation experience.
I have a good amount of facilitation experience.
I would like to offer myself and a proposal for how
I would like to offer myself and a proposal for how
we can make a very consensual, collective decision about what we have to do tonight.
we can make a very consensual, collective decision about what we have to do tonight.
I'm gonna say
I'm going to say
that one again.
that one again.
About how we can make
About how we can make
a very consensual,
a very
Consensual,
cooperative decision
cooperative decision
about what we have to do tonight.
about what we have to do tonight.
Can I get a sense,
In a sense,
by show of hands,
show of hands.
people are generally comfortable
people are generally comfortable
Guys, that looks
me
really
trying
bad.
to take
with me trying
Somebody's videotaping
us
you.
through this process.
us through this process. Okay then.
Okay,
That's not what this is about.
I'm gonna give
It's
it
going
a
to get on the
try.
news, and then I'm going to say the protesters are drinkers. This isn't a party.
On video, man. Skip for president!
That's a
It seems
consideration for
that
everybody else.
the first thing we need to do
Educate yourself, and then you'll realize that it's
is
not
see if people
See people
have more general questions.
have more general questions.
Then what I would like to do,
action. Hunger strike, man.
after having our legal people
After having our legal people
answer our questions,
answer our questions,
is to restate the goal
is to restate the goal
of what we have to decide
of what we have to decide
so that we can be very clear
very clear
about what we're doing.
about what we're doing.
The next thing that I would propose
The next thing I would propose
is that we take
is that we take
proposals from everyone
proposals from everyone
from the floor.
from the floor.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. Is this supposed to be a drug-free zone?
Could you repeat the question?
Is this supposed to be a drug-free zone?
Does somebody want to speak to that question very quickly?
Because I really appreciate if my brothers here would not be drinking beer in the middle of the protest.
Who is inside?
Well, I already asked them and they said no.
But the
People get drunk to get
But
violent.
the police,
So this is
so this is
a drug-free zone.
a drug-free zone.
Well, I don't like it when the media picks people out and they put them on the TV
Repeat
and
after
everybody
me.
thinks of us in a certain way.
Let's continue.
It's just so.
Continue.
I did,
After
and they don't give a
generating a
fuck.
list
After generating a list
of proposals,
of proposals,
begin a process
Begin a process
of breaking into small groups
of breaking into small groups
with facilitators
with facilitators
and appointed spokespersons.
and appointed spokespersons.
After that, we can have a spokes council.
We can have a spokes council.
Spokes councils are cool.
Spokes councils are cool.
During the spokes council,
During the spokes council,
because everyone will have had a chance
everyone will have had a chance
to talk about the proposals,
to talk about the proposals.
we will be able to
We will be able to
make a decision
make a decision
that reflects
that reflects
everybody's input.
everybody's input.
Can I get,
Can I get,
again by show of hands,
in my show of hands,
sense of whether
a sense of whether
there is general agreement
there's general agreement
that this is a good way to go?
that this is a good way to go?
Okay then,
Okay then,
I'm gonna take that
I'm gonna take that
as an indication
As an indication,
that's what we should do.
that's what we should do.
I have been asked
I have been asked
to see if people in the back
people in the back
are able to hear
are able to hear
what is being echoed.
what is being echoed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay then, moving along.
Okay then, moving along.
We would like to generate,
We would like to generate,
oh I'm sorry, my mistake.
sorry, my mistake.
We would like to take
We would like to take
questions
questions
that you have
that you have
about the overall situation
about the overall situation
that our legal people
our legal people
can answer.
can answer.
By show of hands,
By show of hands,
I'll begin taking questions.
I'll begin taking questions.
After you ask your question,
After you ask your question,
I'll repeat it out loud.
I'll repeat it out loud.
And then we'll all repeat it out loud.
Then we'll all repeat it out loud.
Okay, beginning at this side and sweeping. Okay. She would like to know
She would like to know
if there are other people here
if there are other people here
who, like her, are parents of people inside the jail.
people inside the jail.
She would also like to know
She would also like to know
from our legal people
from our legal people
if there's anything special that can be done
if there's anything special that can be done
because of that.
because of that.
And if there's not,
And if there's not,
people stay here with me till her son gets out.
Yes! Yeah! With you!
Just a little.
from our legal people.
Okay, repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
There is an affinity group for Sprout Beard.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
There is a group
There is a group
in support of
In support of
Sprout Beard,
Sprout Beard,
and she is no longer
and she is no longer
in solitary.
in solitary.
my 3 kids
Would my 3 kids
please identify themselves because I'm here now,
please identify themselves because I'm here now?
and there is still some chaos inside.
There's still some chaos inside.
I was told that 98%
I was told that 98%
of the approximate 500
of approximate 500
are still refusing to give their names
are still refusing to give their names.
Several people had the opportunity to be released on OR or PR. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll start over. Wait.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
3 people
3 people
were given the option
were given the option
of release tonight
of release tonight
on OR, which means no money,
which means no money,
and they all declined because they wanted to stay with their support.
They're going to stay with their
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
The vegans
The vegans
are having a tough time.
are having a tough time.
Lunch was bologna.
Lunch with bologna,
Dinner was bologna.
dinner with bologna,
And the WTO is bologna. Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
It does not appear
It does not appear
that a member of
that a member of
the Dan legal team
the Dan legal team
is here right now
is here right now
to answer our questions.
to answer our questions.
If that's not so,
If that's not so,
please bring it to my attention.
please bring it to my attention.
Assuming that
Assuming that that
is so,
is so,
we need to move on with our process.
we need to move on with our process.
So where we are
So where we are
is that
is that
we need to generate
we need to generate
some proposals.
some proposals.
We also need
We also need
to get very clear
to get very clear
on what the goal is of our meetings.
on what the goal is of our meetings.
As I understand it,
As I understand it,
what we have to decide
what we have to decide
is what we are going to do
is what we are going to do
as a group
as a group
in order to see
in order to see
to it that
that
our legal team
our legal team
is able to negotiate
is able to negotiate
with the officials
with the officials
previously named.
previously named.
If that is not so,
If that is not so,
somebody please. I propose.
I propose
Hold on, objection. Have her say the whole thing so we don't have to take twice as long.
give her the
Okay.
microphone.
We've had a better suggestion.
But it's
Why don't
Please repeat after inside. Especially the vegans. To get out. And get something to eat. And get medical care. If needed. Failing that. I would like to propose. That we all offer ourselves. For arrest. Okay, repeat after me, please. Okay, I'm not a lawyer, so just to get that off. Okay, what I have to say, I have an announcement there, and before I say it, okay, sorry. I have an announcement.
I have an announcement.
Please do not get up
Please do not get up
and run away when I say this.
and run away when I say this.
There are about 300 people
There are about 300 people
locking down at the Westin right now
locking down at the Westin right now
to try to get the message to the
to get the message to the
delegates.
delegates.
Delegates don't give a fuck.
The delegates.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
I know
I know
this is a long,
this is a long,
difficult,
arduous
process. But we are doing great.
I do not think we are prepared for a very long sit-in. I propose that we take direct action to disrupt this fine mayor's city to ratchet up pressure on the negotiation. I propose that we shut down I-5.
That we have some kind of signal to indicate that you cannot hear. I suggest people wave their hands
Because we are politically powerful. And we have the media here. That we formally invite. Mark Sidran. Ron Sims. And Paul Shell. To negotiate with us tonight. To get our friends out.
I propose that in addition to inviting those three, that we invite all the people who support us in Seattle to join us here. Have requested that someone from the Dan legal team come up here if possible.
Exchange for the release. We be willing to volunteer community service of cleaning up the downtown area. And there is also a proposal that those willing to risk arrest meet in this corner over there. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are a lot of people
In addition to a nonviolent creative action
nonviolent creative action
that we all agree on.
that we all agree on.
We also
We also
contact our Seattle council members
contact our Seattle council members
that are on our side.
that are on our side,
In particular, the council member that was roughed up by the police
that was roughed up by the police
on the way
on the way
to the WTO reception.
to WTO reception.
He was pulled out of his car,
He was pulled out of his car,
had his documents taken from him,
had his documents taken from him,
and was nearly handcuffed.
was nearly handcuffed.
So we contact him,
So we contact him,
Richard Conlon,
Richard Conlon,
and other council members,
and other council members,
Brian Derdowski,
Brian Derdowski,
Nick
and
Nakata.
county council members.
county council members.
And we ask them to come here
We ask them to come here
and help us in our demands.
and help us in our demands.
That we invite the mayor,
Invite the mayor,
the governor,
the governor,
and whoever declared the state of emergency in our city
Whoever declares
the state of emergency in our city,
to come down here,
to come down here,
to let the people go
to let the people go,
and tell us the emergency is over.
and tell us the emergency is over. Just heard
From a legal person
from a legal person
that we really need to
we need to
move the process along.
Live!
I propose that we refuse to leave
that we refuse to leave
until those three people come
until those three people come
to negotiate with the lawyers.
to negotiate with the lawyers.
The people who cannot stay could network to support us. Proposal is to stage a hunger strike and those who are in solidarity to make our demands. One of those demands is to free our political prisoners. Other demands would also be good.
Political prisoner.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
Our legal team, the mayor,
The mayor,
the city attorney,
the city attorney,
and Ron Sims to negotiate.
to negotiate.
I propose
I propose
when we break into groups
when we break into groups
and select facilitators,
and select facilitators,
that those facilitators as a group go to the mayor's office
go to the mayor's office
and ask under what conditions the mayor would negotiate with us.
the mayor would negotiate with us.
Then that group would come back here and we would continue the process by going back into small groups
By going back into small groups
and discussing further options.
and discussing further options.
We need to take
You need to take
one step at a time.
one step at a time.
The mayor's office
The mayor's office
is just across the street.
is just across the street.
Most of us can remain here
Most of us can remain here
while our representatives go negotiate.
while our representatives go negotiate.
I just want to propose
I just want to propose
that any proposal for the release of the prisoners
any proposals for the release of the prisoners
include
include
the release of all WTO political prisoners,
all WTO political prisoners,
not just here at the King County Jail,
not just here at the King County Jail,
but at the Kent Regional Justice Center
but at the Kent Regional Justice Center
and all other places in this area
and all other places in this area
where WTO political prisoners
prisoners
where WTO political prisoners
are being held.
Yeah.
At the mayor's house.
Hit the spread button. It's done talking about proposals.
Oh, of all the mayor, Adrian, and Sam's houses and offices.
Alright, the second proposal, please repeat after me. The second proposal was to start a petition signed by everyone and sent to the mayor that we form a lawsuit and hold that city accountable if they do not release the prisoners.
There's an update on that proposal. A draft has been written, that's it. Repeat after me. The third proposal is to not agree on agreement to...
What?
Just kidding. To allow us to donate some food for vegan friends inside.
Please repeat after me. The fourth proposal, there are 23 proposals, is that there be no compromises and that we stay here demanding the unconditional release of all our prisoners.
The next proposal is to declare everyone inside political prisoners.
The next proposal, skipping over one that repeated, that was a repeat, is to continue to protest and to get the signatures right now of legal voters.
The next proposal, to stay here in our sit down all night. And if we want to go anywhere else, we do it as one big group.
Alright, repeat after me. We demand that the City Council of Seattle shall formally recognize the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights, as well as the entirety of the Bill of Rights to all citizens, and to issue a statement to that effect.
Yeah, repeat it, please.
Is there a request to repeat that proposal?
Yes.
You're going too fast. Write it.
It is that the City Council of Seattle shall formally recognize the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights, the entirety of the Bill of Rights to all citizens, and issue Seattle. To call the mayor.
Water, anyone?
Demanding the release of all our prisoners.
The 11th proposal is that we do creative nonviolent action in which all of us encircle the jail, link arms, and chant and sing until the jail bursts open. Unquote.
The next proposal is to offer prisoner exchange. Those inside, especially the vegans and those seeking medical attention. The next proposal is to take direct action to disrupt the city and to ratchet up pressure on the negotiations going on now. Specifically to shut down I-5. The next proposal is to formally invite Mayor Shell, Ron Sims, Mark Sidran, here with us to get our friends out of jail. The next proposal is to invite everybody in Seattle who supports us down here to support us. The next proposal is in exchange for the release of all of our prisoners. We be willing to do community service to clean up the downtown area. The next proposal was for those people here willing to risk arrest to meet in that corner. Do you want it?
That corner right there.
The next proposal, which I have as number 18, in addition to nonviolent action, we contact our Seattle Council members who are on our side and ask them to come here and help us in our demands.
But you know what somebody said to me? The woman who smoked cigarettes. She said, "But isn't it beautiful that
Just
the media,
a quick.
for the first time, it's going to see how the process went?" That's true. I was like, "Oh, you're so right."
There has been an amendment. Actually, just kidding. It was me who messed up. But the proposal about the prisoner exchange. I forgot to mention that it would be all of us here. Willing to risk arrest. To put ourselves up for arrest if necessary. To get our friends free. The next proposal is to invite the mayor and the governor and anyone else involved in declaring the state of emergency to come down here to let the people go. Tell us officially that the state of emergency emergency
You ever done that? It's like the
is over.
an area that's like marshy and wet and icy and snowy.
The next two proposals refuse to leave until those people, meaning the mayor, the head of the jail, and the prosecutor, come here to negotiate with the lawyers. The next proposal is that we stage a hunger strike to make our demands. The first of which is to free our political prisoners, and we will add more demands.
The next proposal, that when we break into small groups, all of the facilitators go as a group to the mayor's office to ask him under what conditions he would negotiate with us. And then go back small groups with what was talked about between the group of facilitators and the mayor.
Repeat.
That proposal stated that we break into small groups. All of the facilitators, after they have collected their group's ideas, go as a group of facilitators to the mayor's office and ask him under which of the conditions that were stated in those groups he would agree to let the people go. Then the facilitators would go back to the small groups and tell them what happened.
One change, the hunger strike. The suggestion is that just some people, not all of us, do the hunger strike, but that we all remain in solidarity with the people doing the strike.
The final proposal. Yay. Is the demand of all WTO political prisoners in our greater vicinity to be released. Meaning Kent and everywhere else where our prisoners are being held.
I love it. You love it?
Yay!
We have now an announcement about something cool we can do.
Repeat after me. This is democracy. The WTO is trying to pass they're trying to pass this ministerial agreement. Africa has not signed.
will sign.
The agreements will collapse
Will collapse
if they do not.
if they do not.
We're trying to get word to the Westin Hotel. For us all to chant in unison.
All to chant in unison.
Africa, don't sign.
Africa, don't sign.
When we hear from the Westin Hotel,
When we hear from the Westin Hotel,
we will chant for 5 minutes.
We will chant for 5 minutes
Before we break up into groups.
before we break into groups.
This is democracy.
This is democracy.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
Very good.
Very good.
Now we're waiting for this.
Now we're waiting for this. Africa, don't sign! 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 folks.
Here is where.
Let them go now. 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 Let them go.
My name's Ariel.
Cassidy. I'm Jameson. I'm Hayden.
Jen.
Walter.
Jennifer. Allison.
Matt. Right. So I want to maybe open it up and see if any proposals are really striking as bad and striking as good. Anything that you heard that was particular in one way or the other. To either take it off the list or to really start looking at it, talking about it as a possibility.
And I suggest that maybe we just read through them quickly and like do a little thumbs up, thumbs down, middle, whatever, so we get a feeling.
What if I have another proposal that we consolidate them because a lot of them were kind of redundant.
Yes,
so
I
if we
felt
say,
that way
okay,
too.
like, can anyone think of categories and maybe we can just categorize like petitions, actions, something like that.
Well, the categories that I kind of see from writing it down, I mean, there's a lot of just stay here and demand, stay here and demand that they release prisoners. There's like 5 or 6 of them that basically say that. Not here. Those seem to be the gist of what most of it was.
There's to the what we were calling
The what?
petitions to what we were calling the demands. I can't remember all of them.
Right.
It's like definitions.
Right.
Yeah, it seemed like there were like 3
larger area.
petition ones. That could be, yeah.
Okay. And then, were there any other categories?
Well, the ones like going like dealing directly with the 3 people that they talked about, like the house.
Okay, so
Can you
dealing
speak up?
with like political.
One at a time, please. Just try not to interrupt each other.
So do you mean dealing with like the politicians?
Yeah.
That'd be another category.
Does anybody need food? I bought a big bag of donuts down the road if anybody's hungry.
I'd love a donut.
I offered some police some and they're all, we don't eat donuts. It was very funny.
One said that the police in the 90s made bagels and protests.
So just maybe while we're going through these, can you mark it with either one of these 3 things?
Okay, so let's see what these are. Politicians.
I think maybe we can also divide them into things that we can do tonight and things that are like long term.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So tonight,
Tonight versus long term.
long term. LT would be long
Maybe
term.
we just keep it like short and simple by just going through the ones we have and even read them like
Okay.
just to like.
Yep.
If we
Okay.
divide them into all these categories.
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
Okay, the first one was have protests. The first one was to have protests at the houses and offices of the big 3, which is what I wrote them down at Sims, Sheridan, and Shell. I feel like that's a bad idea. Keep everyone together.
We need to stay
They
here.
might not even be in this area.
Yeah.
How are we going to
Is that out? That's future.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, we're moving.
Okay.
Okay, start a petition that we start a lawsuit to hold the city responsible if they don't release prisoners.
I like that, but I also think that they have all our names. That's a little bad. I think if there was somebody that took all the names and said they wouldn't give it to them unless, we made an agreement that we would give it to them, Like, not to
No
jump into
recourse.
giving it to them, just in case, they could, if they have our names, they got us.
Well, but people don't have to sign. I mean, it sort of becomes an individual
That's true, but
decision
we want to
whether
do
you
it
want to
as
stand
a
up
group.
and be
We want
counted
the
or
whole
not.
group to decide on something.
Maybe we can ask it with that proposal. Ask legal counsel if they can have retaliate, because I think there are laws around retaliation against someone who signed a petition. So let's consult with the legal about that. But we'll support it if there's a way we can do that and keep our rights.
So is someone taking, are you taking notes?
Yeah.
So can you mark that down as a question that we have specifically?
Yeah.
to take to the spokes council to ask legal advice.
Okay, so we'll say check question. Okay, the next one is propose that they allow us to donate food.
That doesn't have anything to do with
But I think that we should add that.
Separate, but definitely like that
I
should
think
be
we should add
Yeah,
that
that's
into
good.
everything.
to everything. Yeah.
I think it should be part of the big.
No matter what we decide to do, yeah.
That the vegans eat food now.
Well, everyone should get.
How's everyone feel about that? That it'd be
Maybe, I mean, if we want them to re-release right away, I mean, that means we can feed them right away. So, I mean, we have to decide if we really want them released right away. I mean,
So it's like plan B? Like if one doesn't work, then...
yeah, if it's prolonged, we need to get them some food. I don't know if it's possible. It definitely isn't the main objective.
A couple more things.
A couple more things.
There's some extra clothing
There's some extra clothing
available for people
available for people
who are cold.
who are cold.
You just raise your hand
You just raise your hand
if you're interested
if you're interested
in having clothes
in having clothes
brought to you
brought to you.
after the spokes council begin. Last item.
Last item.
sorry.
This better? We've just heard that there has been an authorization to have the WTO Ministerial proceedings continue on until midnight. That means that we have to continue as long as is necessary.
So as far as petitions and release, so did we...
A spokes council is a grouping of representatives from smaller groups. It's a way that large numbers of people can participate in processes like consensus that are really hard to do with lots and lots of people. We are currently broken into about 20 or so smaller groups. Hopefully, you've had a chance to find out how the group feels about our proposals. Hopefully, you've selected a spoke who will represent the group's interests in the spokes council. The spokes council itself will be a circle of all the spokes. We'll have the circle right in the center here. Something cool about spokes councils is that all the people who are not spokes can sit behind their spoke. That way you can hear what's going on. And if you want to participate, you can pass a note or get the ear of your spoke. I forgot the word "to" in there.
We'll forgive you.
Now, the way spokes councils generally go, someone stands up to facilitate the spokes council and says they're only going to call on actual spokes. But what almost always happens is that everybody wants to raise their hand
that everybody wants to raise their hand
and participate in the meeting directly.
and participate in the meeting directly.
That makes the meeting much more difficult.
Much more difficult.
We already have about 20 spokes.
About 20 spokes.
About 26 proposals.
About 26 proposals.
That's hard enough.
That's hard enough.
So what I'm going to do is be pretty rigid about only having designated spokes participating in the spokes council. Does that sound okay? The spoke, this is the wheel, and we'll add. If your proposal's already on the list, you don't have to add it. And then by the time we're done with that, we'll have a pretty short list.
There's tons of it.
Yeah, I got it.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
If there's a straight edge punk named Lizzie, you have a family emergency. And to call one of her sisters soon. Thank you.
Tell the vegan Gestapo. I read.
Okay, let's try to make this happen. Are there any strong objections to the proposal that I suggested? The process. Are there any strong objections to the process suggestion that I offered? Seeing none, let's begin somewhere on the wheel. By show of hands, who would like to present their group's findings? That's the first hand I saw, so we'll just start there. Remember, we just went through sort of your top proposals.
Repeat after me. Never mind, just listen up here. We tried to summarize the best we could from all of the proposals. There were so many good things. First off, we like the idea of the food donation the vegan food donation to the people inside. Second off, we of course like the idea of staying here until they are released. Thirdly, we like the process in place of the council working together to negotiate with Sims, Shell, and Sidran to find out what their conditions for release are, to bring those back to this group. And based on that, this group decides what they're going to do. We also would like to invite the people of the city of Seattle to come and join this peaceful sit-in. Thank you.
Just a quick process update. I know new ideas come out of meeting in small groups. It's going to be important, though, to try to stick to... Starting again. I know that it's very tempting to come up with new proposals, and I'm not saying that we can't do that. But just keep in mind that we generated a big list of proposals, and we've talked about them. So as spokes, we all know how our group feels about those proposals. We come up with new proposals, we don't know how our group necessarily feels about that. So try to stick to existing proposals and combinations thereof so that we don't just keep generating more and more possibilities. We're in a process now of making less and less possibilities until we all feel comfortable with selecting one or two or whatever the set happens to be. The other process point that I'd like to mention is that a number of the original proposals on the list really aren't proposals about what we should do in order to bolster our legal team. Things like providing food, vegan food, to people inside are great. But our main task right now, and a task that we really need to stay on, is finding out what we should do as a group tonight in order to provide the support that our legal team has asked us to provide. Providing vegan food isn't it. Those are things that we can talk about once we get clear on what our main collective action is.
It's not appropriate for you to editorialize if you're going to go around the whole circle and hear what our proposals are.
Okay, I hear you. That's not popular.
A lot of people thought it was important to have vegan food.
Part of the reason that we wanted to have the food delivered was we don't know what their reaction is going to be. They may turn it down. And how are they going to look if they turn down food donations? That is going to put pressure on them, and that will help get them released. It is part of the process to get them released. We have our goal in mind. Thank you.
I apologize if people thought that was contrary to process. I just want us to focus on the idea that some of the proposals are really directed towards what we've been asked to make a decision about.
Can we go around as a
so I just want to make that clear.
Next. It's going. Just go around in a circle.
Go in a circle.
Let's
Go in
give
a
him some
circle.
patience. He's been doing a really good job.
The only significant thing I need to say is we all thought that we should stay here until they are released and make whatever provisions are necessary to make that possible, such as food, water, and bathroom and shelter.
Our group would like us to all act in solidarity. We like the idea of staying here. We want all prisoners released from all areas, not just this facility. We like the idea of having food and medical help passed into the prisoners. Nice.
I'm going to stay seated because I got bad knees. But we have our three proposals that we came up with are continuing with the petition. Three proposals we have are to continue with the petition that we were talked about earlier. Secondly is no compromise, stay here and complete our vigil and stay here until all political prisoners are released. And number three is to, sometime this evening as an exercise, to encircle the jail. Hold hands and encircle the jail. Woo! Yeah!
I don't really have anything new to add except for I think that definitely solidarity is something that we have to remember through all this.
Our top four proposals, pardon me if I repeat them because I think it gives you a sense of, that we also support a given proposal. They were, number 13, invite Shell, Sidran, and Sims here with us. Number 4, no compromise, stay here until all are released. Number 16, ask the support of city council members to come here and help in our effort to release our prisoners. And number 19, we should initiate a hunger strike.
We most strongly supported the idea of staying together as a group, moving as a group. We also supported the idea of sending the delegation to negotiate with the mayor's office. It was a late-breaking news story in our group is that fully half of the people, upon learning of the news of the extension of the meeting until midnight tonight, would like us to keep an open mind for new tactics that we could decide on depending on some of the results of the meetings with the mayor, right? They mentioned potentially even going on up to the convention center. We haven't discussed that as a big group, obviously, but let's keep an open mind towards what could come as cards play out.
The only proposal in my group that has not been mentioned yet is that they were willing to do community service in exchange for the release of the prisoners. And the one thing that was different about my group is that not all of them felt that they were able or willing to do a sit-in as long as it takes, but maybe with the provisions like food, etc., and the support that some, if not all, would, change their minds.
The top proposals in my group were as follows. The first one would be to stay here, as this position is symbolic of what we're struggling for, and it's also a good meeting place. We happen to be right across the street from a church, and this is a good thing to stay here and to stay together here. The second one was to be continuing to circulate and sign the petition, with looking into legalities around if that petition, our names on that petition can be then used against us, if there's anything protecting us from retaliation. And also to put on that petition a place to sign if you're a Seattle registered voter and a Washington State registered voter, so that they get a sense that people in Seattle care about this as well. It's not just people from everywhere else. The third was to bring food and medical attention and care to the prisoners as soon as possible.
Our group's top 3 proposals. As an amendment to the petition, we suggest that we create a phone tree that each of us here call 3 people and have them call 3 people. And in addition to that, all of us will be calling the council members and the mayor and the governor. I happen to have the mayor and the governor's phone number on me. I also have a cell phone, and I'm happy to pay for all of our calls until my battery runs out. Our other proposal is that we go to the mayor's house, because while being here is very symbolic, if we go there, we can annoy him directly. There we go.
Stop being loaded.
Okay, our group also strongly agreed.
All of the people arrested during the protesting, supposedly nonviolently, whatever, to be declared political prisoners officially. Number 5 was for the mayor to officially end the emergency and declare the city open again.
Repeat after me.
We have some really good food. That is so stay seated. And it will have actions around the jail that could include circling the jail so it's off, the jail opens up, and beginning a petition. That petition should include the demand that our prisoners be considered political prisoners, and it should also include a recognition that the Bill of Rights has been ignored. And in our protest, we will demand the release of all our prisoners.
Following 3 in the following order, because they are direct actions and we support every one of them. The one we support the most was going to the mayor's house and creating a presence there, perhaps starting a tent-like vigil to continue until all the prisoners. We also support the concept of doing continued sitting here. In addition to that, we suggest that the sit-in would include blocking all the entrances and not just the front door. Let me mention again that our group is, like everyone else here, we intend all
Lose your job. So what we thought was people are going to get hungry, people are going to get tired. If we can maintain a constant vigil, meaning people come in and relieve other people, but there is a constant presence. One, the city council and the mayor and the city attorney recognize that the people that are being held are political prisoners, and we demand to get something done with this. And we also supported the idea of getting in touch. If anybody knows anybody on the city council that sympathizes with our efforts, that we contact them for the long run and see if we can get something accomplished with that.
And the last, we feel that there's a possibility of somebody having to be relieved, or somebody, possibly those who have to go home at some time, but only in relief. It seemed that some people were willing to go home and get some supplies and bring them home, or bring them back. That seemed good to us. We're also in solidarity with the idea of the prisoners inside, the political prisoners, and the people at Westin. I think working together will make the entire solidarity much more strengthened. We're also into the secondary issues of petitions and going to inviting the mayor. We were not for the food being sent, but after hearing one proposal here, after hearing the proposal of the fact that regardless of whether or not they were feeding them, it would be good to send the food in, and at least it becomes, possible for them to eat, and also the media will pick that up. The mayor's house seems like it also a possibility.
Can I sit on it?
Yes.
I did not say that we are against our being part of the negotiating. It's really up to the people inside.
What
We too agreed to stay here all night if necessary. Our demands were met. We wanted to clarify that includes the release of all WTO political prisoners, not just here. We also agreed to invite everyone down from Seattle who supports us, including specifically Shell, Sidron, and Sims, and the city council member. They may not come, but their response will be documented. Thirdly, a liaison support and alliance with the Westin people were open to, but lukewarm to the I-5 direct action and prison exchange.
Well spoken.
Someone make an announcement regarding where bathroom facilities are. I got one. 2 blocks straight down the street.
Did everybody hear that? I believe the question was, where can people go to the bathroom? The answer was
On the corner of 3rd and whatever street this is.
the corner of 3rd and the street here. James. 3rd and James.
Bathrooms. 1 porta potty.
Okay, so as I said before, it looked like we went around the circle, and instead of just trying to come up with a short list of things that our groups felt were important to look at, instead we're talking, this makes sense, instead we're talking about how the group felt about each item and so on. And so the list didn't get quite as short as I wanted it to. However, having had a chance to hear all the things that were said, I had an opportunity to underline those things that I heard that seemed to have a lot of support. I'd like to go through that list and use that as our short list, which we can begin to discuss and possibly pick and choose from to put together a package that makes everybody happy. I may have missed something, because a lot of people were coming up to me and asking me various things or telling me various things. And if I say something that you don't agree with, Ross's question?
Well, yeah, as I've spoken, you were about the most distracted person here, because people were talking to you all the time. So I was keeping a hash mark count after the first 5 or so, and I remembered a few from before. I'm sure some other people are doing the same thing. That's obviously getting more accurate than your vague impression in the moments when you weren't being talked to. So while I think you're a great facilitator, I don't think you're in a position to describe what the consensus was.
Okay, so that a process suggestion that have somebody who's got a specific hash count to come up with our short list. You want to use yours?
Well, why don't we total the several hash lists that we have if people are keeping?
How about those guys confer for 1 minute?
Hash listers.
All right, here's another process suggestion. Hey folks, there's a lot of things that are coming to my attention that just aren't important enough to interrupt the process, because it's debilitating me as somebody who's trying to make this go forward. It's not that I don't think these things are important, but please don't bring stuff to me if you could just sort of start passing the word around the corner and around the crowd, or if it doesn't really pertain to the exact issue that we're talking about now. Sorry for saying it like that, but I'm just starting to wear down on it. Okay.
You did a great job.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, man.
There was another process suggestion, which I think is a good one, which is people who feel like they have good hash counts will get together for a few minutes while we're doing something else and come up with a list. Remember, the idea here is not to vote. You know, if we wanted to do that, we could just do a vote. We have a majority vote. The people who are on the minority end of the majority vote would just be shit out of luck. The idea here is to get a decision that even if it's not the thing that we all think is the best, we all believe it's something that we can live with. That's called consensus process, and that's hopefully what we're going to get out of this. So maybe by show of hands, people who have a hash count can raise their hands. I'm seeing 2 hands, so why don't the 2 of you get together quickly and make sure your hash counts look more or less the same. And we'll use the top number of those items as our short list.
Close to where the meetings are, you know, all that.
Food and everything.
Okay. You might want to check back a couple minutes.
Won't happen. Alright. Alright. Okay.